Hey guys, so the biggest thing that I want to communicate here is mindset. If you're not proficient at selling, you want to get good at it because sales is super important. And you never want to go into a selling situation where you need something, where you need to sell this, or there's an overabundance of you are way too enthusiastic to sell, right? Because then you get into sales mode and you get salesy, and then people get up to put their wall up, the buyer seller wall, we call it. And once you have that up, you can't have a rational discussion because they're going to be on defense. So there's a lot of things I want to talk about. The mindset and perspective that you have to have behind this is super important. So the whole premise behind this way of doing things is, as you know, most of you have done sufficient research to see that you look at any niche, in almost any geographical location, you'll see, you've seen the numbers, how many websites of small to medium businesses are ridiculous, completely outdated. And they are inevitably, unless they have an 89-year-old operator that just honestly doesn't understand the value of a website, had somebody scam him into it 10 years ago, and it has absolutely no problem with spending $10,000, $14,000, $20,000 a year on a yellow page listing, but doesn't understand this. Everybody else other than that guy, which is most people, they are inevitably going to make that jump from not having a good website to having a good website that's on par with their competition and is up to modern day standards. So our objective here for the long term is we want to get in that stream. When they're going to jump from not having that website to upgrading, we want to get there. So a lot of these guys, some of these businesses are not going to convert, certainly not on the first touch, the first communication. Some of them might be 12 months, but the goal is here, if you think about filling that pipeline up with all these people, all these businesses, all these pieces of digital real estate, when they make that leap, who are they going to talk to first? Who are they going to think of first when it comes to a new website? When you're following up with them at a rate that's not irritating and annoying, but that's also going to keep you front of mind when that discussion comes up. Okay, so that's going to be something that's going to be the vast majority of cases, and I want to stress that because the tendency, especially for those of you who are not entrepreneurial or don't have an entrepreneurial background or don't have a sales background, you're going to put way too much pressure on the situation. You are going to open yourself up to massive disappointment, and disappointment is the enemy. You have got to learn how to have the right mindset to deal with disappointment because it's going to come. And I've seen it a million times in a million different ways. One no can wipe people out of the game, with not just with this, but with anything. So you have to position yourself mentally the right way, and there's a lot of different things that get into that we'll talk about. But it's super important to keep that in mind, that this is a long-term thing, and the vast majority of these people are going to convert over time, unless you see that they're just somebody you don't want to work with. That happens a lot of times. I've had that happen numerous times where that first communication is like, I don't want to do business with you. You're not somebody I want to deal with, because I've dealt with that where you get them in and they don't pay their bills, or they're just a pain. They become way more work than it's worth. It's just not worth it to have them. So you will feel that out. So how to actually pitch. There's a few different ways. The main model that I talk about when it comes to this is geared towards the majority of people who are not really comfortable with selling. And that is find the prospects, create the website, and present the website. I love it for that sake because there's nothing to talk about. We're not talking about pitching a hypothetical or trying to get into their imagination and see something better, plus getting past the fact that they're pitched 50 times a week by other people for the same thing. It's, here's the end product, it's done, you can see it, here's your brand, there it is, right? It's way more than anybody else is even doing in an industry where it's hard enough to get people to actually follow through and finish the jobs, let alone start and finish before there's even been an exchange of value. So in that context, that's prospect, create, and then present. The other way that you can do this, if you're more comfortable with it, or something that you can do supplementally to this, is you can go and do the research, you can contact the businesses, and I would always recommend contacting them through Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Email, they get a lot of these through email, and you're just going to get filtered out. There's no continuity with the conversation. You can't see whether or not they've seen it. they can't see who you are. You're just an email. Whereas Messenger, they see it. You can see that they've seen it. Facebook pages, when you send messages to Facebook pages, it doesn't get filtered into another box unless you're copying, pasting, and being a spam artist. But personal, if you find, let's say you find the manager or the owner and you approach them on Facebook, it's going to go to their other box. So it's a little bit harder to get in there. You could do both. The other method you could do is you could find those businesses, you could pitch them and say something real simple to them on Messenger or Instagram DM and email. Do it all. See what works. Or text. Some of them have text on there. And just say, hey, my name's Jay. I'm with Synergist Media or my XYZ Media. I noticed your website is not on point. It's not up to par with those of your competitors. Is it okay with you if I just take 15 seconds, share the reason for why I'm messaging you, and at the end of that, you can decide whether or not we keep talking? Or change that up so it's not such an open-ended question you have to wait for them to answer. You could say, I'm just going to take 15 seconds and share the reason for why I'm reaching out to you, and then you can decide if you want to have a conversation. And just say something like, hey, would you be open to the idea of me taking your existing website and recreating it so that it presents better, it works great on mobile devices, the images are crisp and clear, it's a 2019 website. And then you can decide after you look at it whether it's something that you'd want to take part in having right now or sometime down the road. Start the conversation with that, because then you're separating yourself. You're rarely gonna get people that are gonna be like, oh, I would love that. They don't know who you are. There's a lot of different factors. They don't even know what you're going to charge, right? They might say, well, how much do you think that's going to cost? Give them a decent number. If it's a 3, 4, 5 page typical website, quote them what you're comfortable with. Tell them it's, whatever you think that is. The number that comes to mind typically is $300. It's a lot cheaper than what they're used to being quoted. You can play with it. I just never try to go swing for the fences right off the bat until, and I don't recommend this for anybody, until you have enough action happening on the back end that you can begin to start to raise your prices, right? Otherwise, you're just taking a swing and a miss, and it's not ideal. You want to make nickels before you start trying to make dimes, and you want to make dimes and quarters before you start going after the dollars, right? It's so much better to win one than to lose one, if they're worth doing business with. So that's one way that you could do it. You could also do a one-page mock-up where you just do the homepage. You don't have to do the whole website, you just do the homepage and then you pitch them on it. And play with the models of following up and just going based off of that. But the benefit with having that pitch, the second way of doing it where you are pitching them up front, or you're pitching them more up front and saying, here's what I'll do, I will create this, and then you can decide. You could tell me to screw off if you don't like it, not going to chase you. But it gives them an opportunity to see what you can do, and it also gives them the opportunity to say no. They're not committed. No commitment. So it's very open to them. The downside with it that I don't like as much is that you don't have that piece of digital real estate that's sitting there. It's so much easier for somebody to say yes to something that's done and create that impression without them telling you no right off the bat. Because they might say no to you on this second way of doing things. They might tell you no when in 3 months, if you had it done and you would have gone through the regular process, they might have turned into a yes. Timing's everything. You have no idea what people are going through. They're just going to tell you no because they think you're a salesperson and they just want to get rid of you. They don't know, something happened 10 minutes before that they're super stressed and they just don't want any more on their plate. You don't know. So you can play with those two methods. The other thing is just straight up sales. Go out there and pitch. Go on Instagram and DM everybody until you get blocked, until Instagram puts a temporary halt on your ability to DM. Honestly, just go find these businesses and DM everybody and say, hey, your website's not on point. I think you could be better. You're linking it in your profile. Do you want to sit down and have that discussion about what it would look like for me to create an affordable, quality, top-notch website that is going to convert those Instagram visitors? You're putting in all the work to do this. Do you want to have a discussion about what that's up? So look, you can do this anyway. I think any way is ideal. I just love the idea of creating that digital real estate. And because I've done it that way, I've just found that is more, it's exciting to have it done. It's going to convert better long term. It's just an easier sell. It's an easier sell at the end of the day. That is an easier sell because you're not pitching a hypothetical. You know what, you can picture what, you own this business. This is your baby. This is a family. This is your baby. You see your brand being represented on this digital storefront that makes the other one look like a total piece of garbage in contrast. It hits the emotional center. So that's that. Okay, so now, sorry guys, I'm a little bit disorganized here. I realize I didn't cover the, if you're doing the primary method, how do you actually go and pitch? I alluded to it, Facebook, Instagram, DM, email as well. And if I do email, which I almost always do if I have access to it, I always tell them I've sent the same thing to you on Messenger or Instagram DM. Feel free to hit me up on whatever platform makes sense to you. Just wanted to make sure this got to you. But what I would basically do is say to them, hey Mike, my name's Jay Woodford, XYZ, you can do this text or you can do a video. I'll talk about video in a sec. My name's Jay Woodford. I'm with Synergist Media. I'm looking to expand in the area. I was just wondering if I could take 15 seconds, share with you the reason for my message, and at the end of that, you can decide whether we keep talking or not. Or I'm going to take 15 seconds, share with you the reason for my message, and then you can tell me whether or not you want to have a conversation. Is the one that doesn't leave it so open-ended, waiting for them to answer. And I would just say I am expanding in the area, and I was looking at businesses in your niche or in your geographical or whatever it is, and just say, I noticed your website's not on point. Your competitors have better websites. And I understand that people in your business get pitched 50 times a week. I didn't want to just jump in line and be one of those guys, so I decided I want to put my money where my mouth is, and I rebuilt you a brand new website from start to finish. If you like it, it's going to be $300 plus $50 per month. We can certainly sit down and have a conversation about it. There's no obligation. I just want to send you the link. I want to put a face to the name and a name to the face and send this to you, and whenever it works. If it works to talk about it this week, if it works to talk about it next month, whatever that works for you, I just would love the opportunity to possibly do business. There's not much more you can do other than that. The objective here is to give them permission to say no, so that they don't feel like you're trying to corner them, because you're not. It may feel like that by default. You want to relieve that tension obligation, because all you're going to do if you create that, they don't owe you anything. You have no leverage over them. They will just tell you, get the F out. Get out of here. No. If you make them feel unsafe. So the objective, make them feel safe to say no, let them know who you are, and no, there's not a time commitment. Like, there's so many people that are like, well, we should do this so that it's like you have 2 weeks to take advantage of this, or I'm going to go to the competition. It's like, well, that's kind of BS, and you're leveraging them. I'm more interested in them possibly, if they don't convert today or this month, I'm interested in them converting 12, 18 months from now. I'd way rather have that and have that kind of activity in the pipeline and things popping down the road than never popping, right? It took you nothing to create it, especially once you've gotten to the process of duplicating from previous sites. But that's it. It sells itself in many ways, and your ability to follow up, present that it just doesn't get any more complex, right? There's really nothing that you can say that's going to be special, that's going to convert them into being somebody that's going to buy from you. Either they will or they won't, and you have to just accept that at that time. My biggest thing with people when it comes to a selling situation, if I firmly 100% believe that they need to take a look at what it is I'm talking about, I'll say to them, I'm going to bug you until I know you've taken a look at this. Sorry guys, I just got to check the time. Is this even recording? I'm going to bug you until you take a look at this. Once you've had a look at it and you have enough to make an adequate business decision, that decision is totally yours. I'm not going to harass you. I'm not going to try to get you to buy something that you don't want or that you don't feel like you need. I'm looking for people that want what I have to offer. And that's it. And that is my mindset. I don't want to try to sell people. Then this is why I'm good at selling, is because I only sell to people that want what I have to offer. or that may want, or that want to sit down and have a conversation. I am not gonna spend 1 ounce of time, and this may happen. You're gonna come across the 89-year-old operator, or the guy who's in his 50s, or the guy who's in his 30s who doesn't understand this stuff, and you're gonna have to literally, like I just had to fire a client because they didn't even understand. They're like, what is the website thing? I'm like, we're done because you don't understand this, and you're arguing about the price. Anyways, I don't want to do it. And I don't want you guys to get sucked into that either. You can't go chasing after all this stuff, because long term, if you get a whole bunch of crappy customers, it's going to make this a lot less fun, a lot less profitable. So either they're going to buy it or they're not. And you're taking that chance. So follow up with them, send them that message. If you can, literally, like, grab your phone, go into a place that's a decent setting, like your kids aren't screaming, or there's not going to be cats all over the place or something weird. It doesn't have to look like a top-notch office. You can do it in front of your computer. You just go somewhere that's decent. You know what that is for you. And then shoot a 15-second video. Put your face to the voice and the voice to the face, because that's just such a more powerful way to communicate. Hey, my name's Jay. I'm with Synergist Media. Just want to take 15 seconds, share with you the reason why I'm reaching out, and then once you have a look at this, you can decide whether or not we talk. Blah, blah, blah. I created this website. Just the same stuff that I said to you earlier. Keep it short, keep it simple, and then just leave it open-ended. If you want to have a discussion, let me know. If this is of interest to you, let me know. I will follow up with you in a couple weeks and put it in a to-do list or on something that you can manage it. Follow up with them on a regular basis. I think every 3 to 4 weeks is a good number. It's not too much that's annoying, but it's enough that you're going to stay top of mind when that discussion comes. So. And again, it's numbers. There's some will, some won't, so what? Next. Keep moving. You do this enough times, you're going to win. You can't not win if you put in the work to do this. And you'll get better at it as you continue to do this and you have these conversations. My way may not work for you. We're all different. I'm a D personality, if you know what the DISC analysis is, which is very direct, to the point, and there's people that can sell in every one of those quadrants. There's people that are introverted that can sell better than people that are extrovert. So you're going to find your groove, and I'm trying to give you the best things and just some principles to go off of. But giving them permission to say no, not cornering them, not being too salesy, trying to keep it in a way that's going to have a conversation without the buyer-seller wall. That's kind of the stuff that we're talking about there. So let me know if you guys have any further questions. I'm sure you will. I hope that helps. And look forward to helping you kick some butt here.